Welcome back, viewers. Like I said earlier, we'll be discussing the just concluded PDP National Convention and its aftermath. And of course, we are being joined by a chieftain of the party and a social commentator, Mr. Larry Olayinka. Good morning, Mr. Olayinka.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah,
Good to have you in our leadership podcast studios.
good morning.
Yeah, and it's a pleasure that you're coming for the first time. And I think, like I said to guests, we would love to see more of you.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's go to business, Mr. Olayinka. The 2021 PDP National Special Convention has just ended in Abuja, and I know you were part and process of the convention. So, what is your assessment of the convention?
Well, the convention went well as it used to be, as the tradition of PDP. The convention went well. It also is also a demonstration that PDP has remained organized as it used to be. PDP has. If you look at there will always be issues here and there and there. PDP always have this tradition of managing its own affairs, and that's what you saw before Saturday, on Saturday, and after Saturday.
Okay, now that the party has a new set of National Working Committee members, so what do you expect from the members?
No, the new set of the people that were elected
Maybe
To
some-
take over next month.
to take over next month.
Yes.
So they are still as it is NWC members.
Elect. So, what do you expect of your leadership by the time the
Then
Take over.
a lot of responsibility has been placed on their shoulders. And if you look at the person of the incoming chairman, you somebody who was in the Senate in 1991, 92, 1992 or there, but he was in the Senate. He was the Senate president, and he has remained consistent. And he's one of the founding fathers of PDP. That is very important. He's one of the 34 member of the G34
G34?
That's for them.
that formed PDP. So in a situation when you have a house that is having problem, what you do is to go back to the basis, to the root. You go back to the drawings of the house. So what PDP has done, that like you can see, is going back to one of those who founded the party, the fathers of the party. This party is having issues. Our father come and put things right, and that is what the party has done. And that is why I believe that is on PDP under its leadership will rescue Nigeria from the current mess that we are.
All right, Mr. Olayinka, let's talk about the winners and probably the losers at the just concluded convention. The national chairman or the new chairman, elect Dr. Iyorchia Ayu, was a consensus candidate of the North. There was no disagreement about him. But let's come to the South or Southwest, particularly where you come from. The position of the deputy national chairman South was contested between a former governor of Osun State, Olagunsoye Oyinlola, and the deputy or the national vice chairman of the party, Taofeek Arapaja. I want to ask, Arapaja defeated Oyinlola by a wide margin, and the story in the space was that he was the candidate of governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde. Now, what was the consensus, or was there a consensus? I know there was no consensus, but how come Seyi Makinde, brought a candidate at the zonal level to defeat Eddie Olafeso, and now at the national convention he brought another candidate who is already occupying a position to the higher office and defeated a bigger stakeholder in the party, in the person of Oyinlola? Will there be a repercussion
See,
of this in the Southwest?
let me tell you this. In PDP, we don't defeat ourselves.
Okay.
PDP, we don't defeat ourselves. It's a family matter affair. The party we want to defeat is APC. So I tell people all the time, I don't subscribe to this idea of if there is a contest internal among children of the same parent, you don't begin to talk about someone defeated somebody. There was a context. Maybe it was also done so that to give semblance of, because you can also not go to a convention and there's no competition. there must be what gives you the impression that it was not also set up so that there will be a semblance of competition in the party. So we don't have issues. We used to have issues in the southwest, probably between the camp of former governor Fauci, my boss,
Yeah.
and between the camp of governor of your state, the engineer Shima. But that has been put aside, that has been resolved. So I don't want to dwell on the
So the
past.
Southwest PDP is one now.
Southwest PDP is coming back as one, because I tell people all the time, there's nothing that you share in zero. There's nothing to share in zero. As of today, we only have one governor in the southwest. So Seyi Makinde is in Oyo State as the governor now. I am from Ekiti State. What do I get from Oyo State? Nothing. So until we are able to also install our own governor in Ekiti and Osun, we have a governor in Osun. That is when we can begin to have. So our concern in the southwest now is how to have more than one governor that we have now. We are looking at election in Ekiti State next year. We are looking at election in Osun next year. Ekiti State is predominantly PDP, and that is the truth. Anybody telling you anything, and the same thing Osun State. PDP clearly won election in Osun State the last time. We all know how it went. So this time, all the mistakes of that gave out Ekiti and Osun State to APC, we don't want that to happen. That is our concern now.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So now talking about PDP presidential ticket. Obviously, the party says it wants to zone it, makes it a free contest for all. What do you believe in it, and why is it so?
You see, the party has not come out to say anything about presidential election.
Yes.
People assumed people went to town with assumption and they make it look real. The zoning committee for the convention only zoned position for the national offices. That was what was done. When we get to the bridge of the presidential contest, the party will also sit down, the leadership will also, the stakeholder will sit down together and say and look at whether we are going to zone to the north, or we are zoning to the south, or we are going to leave the contest open. And let me also tell you, in politics, when politicians tell you that this contest is going to be open, they already have a mind. People have a mind. They have already zoned that position in their mind, and they will just go there, and it's just like Saturday. The unity list came out. You see, in like a PDP tradition, the moment you see that unity list, probably from the governors and all that, if you go about contesting, you are wasting your time. So when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it.
When you get to that bridge, you cross it. All right, Mr. Olayinka, let's talk about another stakeholder in the party, former President Goodluck Jonathan, whose absence at the just concluded convention has made tongues to wagging. Now, in one of the papers we reviewed earlier on this program, we saw a report about the leaders of the PDP already disturbed about Jonathan's absence, and there are feelers that this signifies the former president might have made up his mind to quit the PDP. What is your take?
You see, I don't speak for former President Goodluck Jonathan, and I'm not a witch to know his mind. I think I see a President Jonathan trying to operate more like a statesman. That is what I'm saying. And let me also tell you, PDP is not a, it's not, PDP does not operate around an individual. PDP, and if you look at it, PDP is a party that has never operated around one individual, and that is why when one person leaves, you want to say the party will stop being existing. No, it has never happened. People leave, people will come back. The moment somebody is stepping out, another person is there to step in to take his position and provide leadership. So that the people are concerned, are worried, and not, they can be worried naturally. But if you look at what happens on Saturday, was there any inkling that, because this person was not there? Don't forget that the person who was his deputy as president, the vice president,
Mamadi
Sambo, was there on Saturday. He was part of all the processes and all that. So I see Jonathan maybe trying to People are saying he wants to go to APC. For me, it is his right. He has right to even go and should be somebody was INEC chairman, Professor Jega was INEC chairman. He left INEC. Ordinarily, having be INEC chairman, I don't think that kind
Should
of
be a
person
politician.
should now come back and be a politician. But he's now a politician. But there's nothing we can do about it because he's only exercising his right as guaranteed by the Constitution of Nigeria.
Exactly.
So, President Jonathan is exercising his right to freedom of association. He wants to, okay, who he wants to be with. He might want to be in his house. He might also want to take care of other issues that are personal to him. So I don't want to join people to begin to insinuate he wants to go to APC, he no longer likes PDP and all that. I don't want to insinuate. If he wants to go to APC, he will come out by himself and announce it. And when he does that, there's nothing anybody can do about it.
All right, let me ask a follow-up question from what my colleague asked you earlier about rotational presidency, which you said the PDP is yet to actually decide where the presidency will be zoned to here we come from. Well, personally, let me ask you, Mr. Olayinka, where do you think the presidency, or where, yeah, let me ask you about your own party. Where do you think personally the presidential ticket of the PDP should be zoned to come 2023?
Let me tell you, as myself, Mary Olayinka, me, I'm not as Nigeria is now, the situation that we are now, it's not a situation whereby you begin to say you are zoning power to somewhere you are zoning. You don't allocate what you don't have. It is what you have that you begin to give to people you allocate. PDP today does not have power.
So it cannot allocate power.
It cannot allocate power. The party that can allocate power and say, okay, we are zoning to this and come out with it is APC because they are the one holding power presently. But the issue here is that are Nigerians concerned about who their president is? People are not concerned. If you are in your house, you have light, you have water, you can feed reasonably, you can provide for the needs of your family reasonably, your security is guaranteed. You won't even remember who your president is. So all this issue of you want president to come from your, unless maybe you want to pick me as president, or you want to pick Shey Ayofayo as president, because I know that I will have direct involvement in it. But if that is not going to happen, what Nigeria wants is somebody who will lead the country out of this mess. And if you ask me, I will tell you that that kind of person should be gotten from anywhere. If it takes, I say this all the time, if it takes bringing a president from Kano, for instance, or president from Lagos or from Osun, or let me say, if you stay bringing a president from Katsina and bringing his vice from Kebbi for Nigeria to get out of this mess, I'm for it too. I am for it. If it means, as they will tell you that somebody will come and tell you Christian, a Muslim. Nigeria voted for a Muslim ticket in 1993. Nigeria voted for Muslim because Nigerians, the ordinary Nigerians, are not concerned. It is the elite, it is the political class that will whip up stories to support their own mindset. That is what is happening now. So where the president is going to come from 2023 is not my business. I want a president that Nigeria can beat their chest and say we have a president, and that president can come from anywhere in this country.
Well, lastly, Mr. Olayinka, I don't know if you. All right. In 2018, when your boss, former Governor Ayofayo, was leaving office, we saw how he tried to make sure that his then deputy, Professor Ishola Eleka, was succeeding as the governor of Ekiti State. Well, he was assisted by the power that be at that time. And I know for sure again now, less than a year to the Ekiti governorship election, your political family is also backing another candidate on the platform of PDP to become the governor of Ekiti State after Dr. Kayode Fayemi. How far can you go this time around?
Well, in 2018, we picked the name Professor Eleka, and the fact of the matter is that PDP won that election. I have said this several times, and I've challenged Governor Fayemi to hold Bible to his chest and swear that he actually and he honestly, sincerely won that election. He did not, and we know what happened. Let me tell you something. At about 5 a.m. in the morning, the day of the election, my 2 telephone lines stopped working. My 2 telephone lines stopped working. And what did they do? I was getting anonymous call consistently, constantly. They busied the number. So I was not able to even reach out to any other person. Nobody could reach me for 24 hours. It stopped 5 a.m. the following day. And that happened to everybody around Governor Fayose, including the governor himself. Who could have done that? Can a private individual do that in a country? It is not possible.
Okay, Mr. Olayinka, that is part of history now.
So
it's past. Let's talk. How far can you go in the forthcoming contest?
This time around, the election next year is for PDP to win. That is the truth. Because I've said it before. I said it here. PDP is the major predominant party in the Ekiti state. The only time we lost power genuinely, that was after 1999, was 2010. Where we lost power then was through court. We lost power again last in 2018, and like I've said, those who took power know that we know those who came to Ekiti and told people that we know that we cannot win. But know that we are not going to begin to mention it. But next year, I'm confident that we are going to win. But I am also concerned about the system, because the system that is being run in Nigeria is such that, whoever that we want is the person that we sort seems to be working to answer. But free and fair election today in Ekiti, there's no how, because what can, in the last 3 years, what can that government point to?
Well, I've seen Governor Fayemi projecting his achievements on the pages of newspaper.
Let me tell you, I see stuff like that on the front page of some newspaper, that I've asked myself, you don't advertise achievement. If you construct road, people who use the road will know that road has been constructed now. If you do something in Ekiti, when you go to Ado Ekiti now, you see overhead bridge there. You don't begin to tell people that this overhead bridge was, when you see it, the seeing is believing now. You see it, and you know who constructed it. Let me give you an example. There used to be somewhere in Ajilosu Ado Ekiti, it was a slum, complete slum. When Fayose came in 2003, just like a miracle, he changed that slum to what is now called Fayose Market. It's like a GSM market, computer market in Ado Ekiti. That market was not named after Fayose. It was not named. Nobody named it. But today, the market is called Fayose Market, or Fayose. Because the people name the market by itself, in their home, in their mind, in their own consciousness. You don't need to advertise it. So they said, let me also point this out. They told us that Fayemi commissioned a civic center. How do you begin to build civic center? Government.
And this is not time for a campaign, Mr. Olayinka. We thank you for your time, and many thanks to you for choosing time to join us on Inside Nigeria. And like I said earlier, we hope to see more of you. It has been a wonderful discussion today. Mr. Larry Olayinka is a public affairs analyst, a chieftain of the PDP, and a spokesperson of former Governor Ayo Fayose of Ekiti State. On this note, we've come to the end of this discussion. Winifred, it's time to go.
Yes, it's time to go.
All right, viewers, make a date with us tomorrow, Tuesday, November 2, for another edition of Inside Nigeria. From here, my name remains Bode Gbadebo. Bye for now.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.